She reached into her purse, and that's when I realized she had brought a gun into the courtroom, while the judge was still speaking. The air changed before my brain could catch up. My daughter was beside me, her small hand wrapped around my wrist, when I saw the bailiff freeze mid-step, his foot hovering like even he wasn't sure what he was seeing. My heart slammed so hard it felt like it hit my throat. I didn't shout. I didn't lunge. I just turned slightly and pulled my daughter behind me, my body reacting before my thoughts could form. Her grip tightened instantly, too tight for a 13-year-old. My hands were shaking so badly I could feel it all the way up to my elbows. Everything sounded far away, like I was underwater. The courtroom itself wasn't intimidating. That's what made it worse. Beige walls, low ceiling, fluorescent lights humming softly, a flag in the corner that had probably been there longer than anyone in the room. This was the same building where people argued over parking disputes and fence heights. It was supposed to be safe, predictable, boring. My daughter was 13. She shouldn't have been anywhere near fear like that. She was only there because the judge insisted she be present after the HOA accused her of repeated violations for riding her bike through the neighborhood. A bike, on a sidewalk. After school, the woman sitting across from us had been HOA president for as long as anyone could remember. Neutral colors, perfect posture. That calm, practiced smile people mistake for professionalism. Neighbors used to call her organized, dedicated. She liked to say she protected property values. What she really protected was control. For months before court, she singled my daughter out. Warnings taped to our door. Photos taken from across the street. Notes slipped into our mailbox about how children needed to learn respect. Once, she followed my daughter halfway down the block in her car, rolling slowly beside her while taking pictures. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She smiled and told me I was being emotional. That smile never wavered until court. She didn't look at the judge when the ruling came down. She didn't look at me either. She looked directly at my daughter, not with anger, with calculation, like she had already decided something and was just waiting for permission she didn't get. When the judge invalidated the fines and issued a formal warning for harassment, her jaw tightened. Her hands clenched once in her lap. She inhaled slowly, controlled, deliberate. Then her hand moved into her purse. The bailiff's voice cut through the room, calm but sharp. "Ma'am, stop!" His hand was already on his holster. Nobody screamed. Nobody bolted. The entire room went still, like everyone understood that sudden movement could make things worse. I felt my daughter press her forehead into my back. Her breathing went shallow, fast. She whispered, barely audible, "Dad, what's happening?" She hesitated for just a second, long enough for me to know this wasn't confusion, long enough to know this wasn't frustration. This was intent. She didn't pull the gun out. She didn't need to. The bailiff crossed the distance in 2 steps and seized the purse. Another officer was there immediately, then another. The judge stood so fast his chair tipped backward. When they opened the bag, I saw the grip, black, real, loaded. They took her arm, and for the first time her expression cracked, not with fear but with offense. Like she couldn't believe anyone would dare stop her, like she was the one being wronged. The courtroom was cleared quietly. No sirens, no shouting. Just controlled voices and practiced movements. Someone guided us outside. Only then did my legs start shaking. On the courthouse steps, my daughter collapsed into me. She cried in sharp, silent sobs, apologizing over and over, asking what she did wrong, asking if she was in trouble. That hurt worse than anything that happened inside. Later, an officer explained it plainly. The weapon was legally owned, fully loaded, concealed carry permit valid, but bringing it into court during an active hearing, combined with her movement and fixation, constituted criminal threat and unlawful intent. She was arrested. A protective order was issued that same day. "Legal ownership," he said, "doesn't mean legal intent." Those words stayed with me. The news never covered it. The HOA sent out an email about health concerns and temporary leadership changes. No mention of court, no mention of the weapon, just quiet damage control. At first, people stayed silent. Then they started talking. Neighbors admitted she'd targeted others before. Fines that made no sense. Selective enforcement, threats disguised as rules. Some still defended her, said she was stressed. Said she'd done a lot for the neighborhood. That argument didn't last. The HOA unraveled slowly. Board members resigned. Meetings were canceled. Lawyers stopped returning emails. Within months, it was gone. No announcement. Just missing signs and locked doors. The neighborhood looks the same now. It doesn't feel the same. My daughter doesn't ride her bike alone anymore. She still stiffens when someone raises their voice. I still scan rooms without meaning to. Power doesn't always look violent. Sometimes it looks organized, polite, respected. I think about how close we came to a line you can't uncross, about how many warning signs were visible long before that day, and how many people chose comfort over confrontation. If that had been your child standing there, would you have seen it coming? And how safe do you really think nice neighborhoods are when no one questions the people in charge?